that time, I mean, I could find tweets from all your favorite celebrities that are way more offensive than anything that those same people would say on social media these days. I feel like everybody has learned to just not say anything even close to offensive because everybody is so quick to cancel you or whatever. And, I'm the same way where I might think that some shit is funny and I just won't tweet it, won't say it on the podcast, etc., because everybody just knows these days that everybody's thirsty as to cancel somebody. So, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, are you accusing me of doing some crazy shit like in those tweets? Or you might not think it's funny. And I agree that in retrospect, of course, it doesn't seem funny, but I'm sure you like understand the concept of me thinking something was funny in a completely different world 12 years ago, right?
Well, I've accepted that white people have a different type of sense of humor. I've hung out with white people. I've watched certain movies, and the sense of humor is different. And I even said that when we first discovered it. I said, Wack, they got a different sense of humor. They even play with the gay shit sometimes. Like I noticed they even find some sense of humor in that. They don't really be gay, but they sex play each other and do little weird shit. And I'm just looking at it like, even though a lot of these is from a long time ago, our biggest concern is when these type of situations get discovered, and the person, yeah, even if they've changed. Justin Bieber, he had that one song where he was like nigga 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 nigga, and they're like, well, he was 14 at the time. They said, you know what, he's grown, he's reading the Bible now, he's got his wife, he's being a father, like he's out the way. So people are like, okay, he was a kid. But when we see someone like you, and that is successful at what he's doing, and we see these type of tweets that were going out, it makes us question, like who are we supporting? Like are like some people, like I made the graphic PTR, right, Adam, with your picture on it.
Okay.
That's our profile pic. Some of the members didn't want to wear it. You know what I mean? I made it, to show support if you come in, to the app, and come into the room to talk to us. But some of them didn't want to wear it because they're like, man, I want to talk to him first. I knew you weren't going to come on here and say, yes, I used to like little kid. I knew you weren't going to say any of that, but they still was. It was still a conversation that needs to be had, because I don't want to support someone if they think that a child being taken advantage of is humor, or a woman being raped is humor, or like if someone thinks that's funny, I don't want to support that, because I have kids, and I wouldn't support anybody like that, and know that I have kids, and know that I have nieces, and I've been a kid before, because that's the type of humor, dark comedy, that I'm definitely not into. Nor do I think anyone on stage or on this panel will say that they're into that. We have women that were highly offended. And even though I told you about those two women who made the accusations, right? Even though they're not underage, it still ties into, this sexual type tweets. Whether it's referred to as children, or if it's referred to in regards to rape, it's still something that's highly offensive. And for people to see this now, after supporting No Jumper for so long, it's like, why the hell wouldn't we want to address it? We're not saying, oh, shut it down, and
Right.
get the hell up out of here, but we're definitely like, well, shit, we fuck with you, and you bring so many black artists and entertainers into your platform, and chop it up, and so automatically that's going to draw a lot of minorities as well to come, and check it out, because of the people you talk to. So
Nah,
we want to
definitely.
make
Yeah,
sure that that everything is good, because we are supporters of it.
for sure. And I mean, I that's why I'm here in the first place is because like I told Wack at first, like, nah, I don't want to do an interview about it because that shit first like got exposed online or whatever in like 2018, and I feel like I spoke on it then, and if anybody wanted to see an explanation at the time, they could have gone and seen that. But I don't feel like I have anything to hide. Like the only thing that we're talking about is me thinking some shit was funny what, like 12 years ago. So I feel you. Like I understand why you would be upset about that because as a father now, there's shit that I joked around about at that time that I would never ever dream in a million years. Even like there's been things like jokes people made to me on the podcast about my kid, or sort of just like referencing children in some way that I had to like tell the team like, nah, edit that out because I look at shit way different now. And all the dark humor shit, I feel like when you're younger, like a lot of people would point out like, oh, you were 27 at the time or whatever. Like that's true, but I also was like hanging out with all these 19, 20, 21 year old kids because I was running a BMX team, you know. So, I mean, I really like don't like there's a big part of me that is just like whatever, I don't give a fuck if people are offended by some shit I said in 2010. It is what it is. But at the same time, I hear what you're saying, and I want to come in here and just make it perfectly explicitly clear what I stand for, especially because I got all these different dudes who probably look at those tweets like T-Rail or AD who look at that and they think it looks crazy, and they got kids too, and I'm sure that they know me so well that they don't even give a fuck enough to be like, oh, Adam, explain this. But they all know that I got an offensive ass sense of humor. Anybody who's watched the No Jumper show knows that I'm always pushing the line, that I'm always trying to, make a joke out of something that nobody else wants to joke about or whatever. That's kind of like my whole personality, is just to push the limits of what we were allowed to joke around about or whatever. And back in 2010 on Twitter, there were no fucking limits. There was no rules. You could post anything on that shit, and people would just laugh their asses off. And I'm sure if I looked, I could find all kinds of crazy examples. But it's I want to get both points across, which is that, well, the main point is just I want to get across like I feel you. I understand why that shit looks crazy and why it's offensive, but again, it was just jokes at the time, and a lot of that stuff I regret, and I apologize to anyone it does offend. But at the same time, I mean that it's not. They were never meant to be taken literally, and it was all stuff that I was probably tweeting at 2 a.m, drunk as fuck for the most part, just
That's what I
laughing
was
about
about
some
to say,
stupid shit.
bro. That's what I
Huh?
was about to say. I look. I'm a pretty good judgment of character, right? So one thing I do know is like I know you. I know where you at. I know where your heart at. I know how you know how you take care of your family and shit like that. How you are around other people's family members and kids and women and shit. And none of that is you. I'll say this: once upon a time, I said a bunch of offensive shit too about motherfuckers today that I called my comrades and my brothers because they wore a blue rag. We
Right.
talking 10, 12 years ago. We talking about when niggas was jumping on social media trying to find a way, doing shit back when niggas was planking and laying in the middle of freeways and doing all anything to get fucking attention, right? So, and I told Reek, I said, Reek, I ain't gonna front. A young Adam, that nigga probably was on shrooms, high as a motherfucker and on some just saying anything. I said, what I do recognize is this. He never went back and tried to delete shit. That's why it was there to be found.
Hmm.
Nah,
Facts.
and I respect you apologizing and answering these questions, man. Um,
I got to do
you
that as
know,
a dad, because I'm gonna be
yeah,
real with you. Like my day was oriented around my kid. Like I woke up 6 o'clock in the morning so I could play with my kid for a couple hours before I showered and went to work. I rushed home after work so that I could see my kid and give her a bath for like an hour before I hopped on this shit. Like there's a big part of me. Like Wack will tell you that when Wack had an issue with me before and we didn't see eye to eye, my attitude was basically like, all right, well, if that's how you feel, then it is what it is. And that's going at somebody who, from my perspective, is basically one of the most powerful people in the streets of LA. And I still was just like, hey, if you don't like how I'm moving, then it is what it is.
Yo,
I'm
that's
there's a
why
there's
I
a tiny
say,
part of me.
Adam, that's
Yeah.
your character. Like, first I thought, I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, this motherfucking white boy flexing on me, right? But that's just you. You don't mean nothing by it. That's just you. Like, you got this cocky, oh well, fuck it, dude. But I don't mean no harm, but that's what it is, type of personality. So, like I had to respect it, you know what I mean? And, eventually shit, you called me, hey Wack, wanna get to work? And like I was like, oh, he do fuck with me. And then it just went from there.
But yeah, what I'm
hey,
saying is like I don't want to take that attitude towards everybody in this room of, oh nah, like I ain't apologizing for shit. Like I get how that shit's offensive and I wouldn't make those jokes now. And to a certain extent, I wish that everybody would just get it that at the time Twitter was way different. But I wanted to explain the context and everything just so people could understand where I'm really coming from. Like my kid is my whole life right now, like, and there was never a time period where I thought that like, hurting a kid was funny or cool or some shit like that. But definitely there was a time period where it seemed like an okay thing to joke about, which I couldn't do that now. It hits too close to home. Plus the internet is a totally different place. But I understand why you guys want an explanation about that. I just want to make that clear that I'm not coming in on some cocky shit like I don't owe anybody an
because
explanation.
because I can imagine if someone made a joke about your daughter or your son, you wouldn't find it funny, and even if they were 20 and young, you
Hell
would
no.
probably highly be offended.
No, it's up for sure.
Yeah. So,
Hey,
and
academics in here. I just pinged them up.
Oh, for
okay.
Bring,
real?
bring
So,
him up. So
Yeah.
Adam, another thing
hey,
though,
Finally.
like,
Act.
and another
y'all
thing, Adam, is
mod them
this,
up. There
right?
we go.
The I told him you're not a racist, only on Wednesdays, right?
Oh
It was
man.
a black joke. I'm just fucking around with y'all. It
No,
was a
I
black. It
gotta
was
say
a
the
black.
same shit, but you
That's
know where
out.
the conversation comes, they like, well, he black, he white. So if y'all go call this out too. But see,
Yeah.
him having these testimonies from his partners, brothers that's actually with him, that can actually vouch. And I know these brothers ain't got no reason to lie and say, oh no, he's a perfect angel, he's the same.
Nah, them
No,
niggas
they
don't give a
keeping that
fuck.
shit
Hey,
real.
if Adam was
Yeah, they
anything
keeping that
other than
shit real.
what he said, I had that nigga in the trunk somewhere. He know that.
So, hey, and I respect your honesty. So yeah, so
Hey,
what we've determined is it's from a long time ago. He's explained, what was going on. So I'm a T Rose. You had something to say, T Rose?
hell yeah. I got a question for Act. Act,
No,
you
no,
there?
this ain't no academic thing, bro.
Wack, I got a
We doing
man.
Adam shit, and if the question not
Uh,
respectable to
it is
academic,
respectful. It's respectful. It's
it
respectful.
ain't happening on no
It's
platform. So
no, no.
we
It's
ain't doing none
respectful.
of that.
It's respectful, Wack.
Well,
We got love for
Go
that.
ahead, man. So we can get back, cause Adam got shit to do.
All right, my bad. No,
I'm
no,
Go,
go,
chilling.
go
go,
ahead,
go, go ahead. Go ahead. Hey,
go
Act.
ahead, get it off.
I just want to know, bro. Here at Chose Nature, bro, we want to know why this is your first time here when we've been blowing you up,
Because
bro.
Wack told him to come today. I can answer that. Wack
Damn.
personally called him and told him to pull up, like I called Adam and told Adam to put up. That's why. Don't do that. That's why. Like other places I kind of ain't been. Like both of these young people are here because Wack picked up his phone of many numbers and called them. That's why. So let's reset the room and let's get back so Adam can clear
All right,
everything and we keep moving.
for sure. Because some of the women had questions for Adam as well.